Yeah, so the employer cost or the employee cost? Because those are separate questions.
Let's see. 1 second. Okay, so under the purple headers, that is employer cost, yes? Or
Yes.
employee
Yes.
cost?
Employer.
Employer. So the employees, so they're roughly... Okay, so if I'm looking at this correctly, and and again, just to help me make sure I have my perspective, let's look at employees with overage, so impact on employees. Okay, let's look at option 2. Option 2, the Family Plus, is $1,208 a month. Option 3 is $1,051 a month. I could add, so the difference between those is in round numbers, $157 a month. Am I correct so far?
So it's $1,208 on Family Plus for those who enroll in Family Plus, but the equivalent for option 3 would be $1,564, right, for those who enroll in separate dependent plan, because those are the ones who are getting the coverage.
So if I had, and is that per extra dependent or per separate dependent, or just for separate dependents in general?
For separate dependent if you had one.
Okay, so if you had one. So I'm looking at the difference in those things, and it looks to me that option 3, if you have one separate dependent, is actually less expensive than option 2's Family Plus, looking at it on an annualized basis.
How do you get that? For the employer, you mean?
I'm looking at it for the difference between them. Okay, so Family Plus, option 2, $1,200 a month is about $150 more expensive than option 3 without a separate dependent. Correct?
Yes, but then the comparison figure would be 1080 versus 1051, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just trying to look at the thing, and I'm trying. Okay, so if it's, I see. All right. I was reading the numbers a little differently. So the question really boils down to
is like 1051 and 1051, right? Because the option 2 assumes you're putting in the administrative costs.
Okay.
Run the program for Family and Family Plus, right? So that's why it goes up to 1080 and 1208 essentially.
Yeah. So
the takeaway from the left-hand side from the employer cost is it's a modest cost, but it's a cost, right? Roughly around.
Yeah,
the same.
absolutely.
The cost shifting is more on the employee side.
Looking at these from that standpoint, I mean, if I could have my best choice, I would really like. The one I would like to offer to my employees would be the one where each of those is an option. You can not pay for it if it's not going to apply to you. You can opt for it. So for my employees that are 35 and younger, they're not going to have that additional dependent care or the older children, etc. So they don't have to pay for it. And those who need it can pay the little bit extra. And then you have the option to add on for option 3 if you had that more unusual case. So I like all of them from that perspective.
No, that makes sense. I mean, they're all constructed so that they would have appeal to some demographic. I guess the question, though, is, you gave us baseline scores of 5, 7, and 3 for option 1, 2, and 3. Now that you know employer cost, what would be your baseline rank or scoring? Would it stay the same or change? Like, has your logic consolidated and supported by those numbers, or is it
my
altered?
option 2? My option 2 would stay the same. My option 3